guys, it's Emmarie, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how I curl my really long hair, which you can't see right now, but I'll show you in a second, and also how I get my curls to last for days, because there's nothing more frustrating than spending forever curling your hair than having it fall completely like halfway through the day. Like, you don't need to be frustrated like that. You can feel beautiful and amazing for days with awesome curls, and that's what I want you to feel like, because you are enough. Okay, I have hair that's like down to my belly button here. It goes far. And I also only have layers like right around my face, and my hair is very straight. Like, it kind of bends where you can kind of see it bends out just a little bit where the layers are. I have fine, hard to curl, long, basically layerless hair. If this works on me, it will work on you, I promise. I have some techniques and some tools, some hair products, hopefully that can help you through all of this. I will be linking all of the products and the tools and everything I can in the description box below, just in case you're interested. Okay, so I'm going to show you the technique, actually how I curl my hair, and then during the process of while I'm curling my hair, you can watch me, and I'll also be giving you some extra techniques and advice and all that kind of stuff, so this video won't be like a million years long because I have a lot to say. Okay, let's get into it. So let's talk about a couple things. Let's talk about heat protectant. Please use heat protectant, no matter how your hair curls. If you're using heat protectant just for the sake of protecting your hair, you don't necessarily have to use a product that's labeled heat protectant. You could use like a serum or something like that, but if you're having a hard time getting your curls to stay, I highly recommend using a heat protectant that has texture in it. Or if you wanted to, you could just use the heat protectant and then put a texturizing spray or even dry shampoo on your hair. Your hair just needs something to grip onto so the curls don't fall flat, especially if you have fine silky hair. So what I like to do, I always start grabbing a section like right above my ears, and I like to apply heat protectant to each section I'm going to section out before. And that's because I use a pretty wet heat protectant, and so it's like I don't want to run the curls that I just curled, and so I just like to pre-protect everything. And then I don't have to worry like halfway through like, oh, I forgot to add a heat protectant layer on the stuff I just curled or whatever. So I just kind of like to do everything beforehand. So a couple of heat protectants that have texture built in. This one I just ran out and it makes me so sad. This is the Trust Me heat protectant. It's just their normal thermal one. You can kind of feel the little bit, it's like a little tiny bit grainy, which is good. That's what you want. Another one is the Kenra. This is like a sample size that I got. Kenra Platinum Heat Block Spray. This one's like an aerosol, and you can really feel the texture in it. And then this one's my personal favorite. This is what I'm going to use today. This is the White Sand Liquid Texture Spray. The reason I love it so much is because it's a texture spray, press a heat protectant, adds shine, thermal protection, humidity proof. It just gives you a lot of control of your hair. I replaced the bottle or the nozzle with one that was a little bit of a finer one, or a lot came out of the spray. I didn't like how like much came out when I sprayed it, and so I changed it out. You don't have to, but I just spray like 2 or 3 sprays, and that's because I have long hair. I think if you have shorter hair, you'll just need like 1 or 2. And then I kind of comb through it with my fingers. You could use a brush too, but my brush is over on the other side of the camera, and I don't want to grab it. I don't want to knock things over. Kind of brush through it real quick, and then make sure I get my ends and everything. And if you're extra worried about your ends, because those, like if they're extra damaged or something, you could stick some serum on there to just give it a little bit of extra protection. And then I just go like right above my eyebrows. If you need to take thinner sections or thicker sections, depending on your thickness, go ahead. I'm just kind of giving you a general idea of what I do. I'm running out of this stuff and it makes me sad. Okay, and then I just go like right at my temples, and then on the side of my head that has more hair on it, because I do a side part, I'll clip an extra little section off just on that side, so I can make sure to get I make sure I don't miss any big sections of hair. Okay, then I'm just going to start over with how I sectioned last time. And then I just bring all of the hair forward. I don't use a glove. You can if you want. It causes frizz on my hair, and I haven't burned myself in forever. I mean, so if you didn't know, one of the big secrets is the curl truly forms when your hair is cooling, not when it's on the iron. So I have a rule. So okay, let me show you how I curl my hair first actually. So I just take like a little straw or like a thinner pencil or something. Mechanical pencil. Yeah, mechanical pencil. We'll go with that. And then I take the iron, and since I want volume, this is a little bonus tip. I'm going to hold the iron this way. If you want volume, if you don't want volume, you don't care, just hold it down like most people do. But I just take it and I just wrap it around, and I'm twisting my wrist while I wrap it. That's just to give just a little bit of a tighter curl. That's not so like Shirley Temple. And I hold it on the iron for 7 seconds. And then I drop it into my hand if I can. Come on, little guy. There we go. Okay, so since the curl truly forms when it's cooling, I do this method. I don't do this with every single curl. Or if I'm just curling my hair and I'm just doing it for fun and I'm not like going anywhere special and I don't need them to last for a long time, I won't do this. But today, since I'm trying to show you every single method to get the hair to last the longest, I'm going to tell you about it. I hold the curl in my hand after it's off the iron for twice the amount of time I held it on the iron. So if I held it on for 7 seconds, I hold it in my hand like this for 14. If I held it on for 10 seconds, I'd hold it on for 20. You get the idea. That's just to give it plenty of time to cool, and then I can just drop it. And yes, it's a little bit tight right now, but I am going to comb through it, and so I want to give it some wiggle room. Okay, another thing to help your hair keep its curl, which might sound weird, is to go in different directions so the curls don't like mold together and like become softer. So I went away from my face on that first strand. I'm going to go towards my face on the next strand. But for the actual curling process, the part where you put your hair on the iron, that's about it. You just go, I hold it on there for 7 to 10 seconds, drop it into my hand, and if it doesn't drop into your hand, if you like totally drop it on accident, it's okay, just pick it up and it'll be fine. And then that's the actual curling process. There's so many more tips that I'm gonna get into while you watch me curl that can make or break your curls and are just as important as this actual process. So just keep watching and listening. First, let's talk about a curling iron. One thing that is super duper important, no matter how big, how little, what kind of barrel you have, what it's made out of, is temperature. Holy cow, I can't stress that enough. Temperature is so important. I had no idea. When I was curling my hair before I did the no heat during my teenage years, I guess, it was before that, I was just taught by my friends or someone, I don't even know, that you just do it on the highest setting and that'll get you the curls to stay the longest. And so I just assumed that was the way it was. No. Please don't burn your hair. Please don't fry your hair. And you're like, okay, how do I decide what temperature I need for my hair? Well, it depends on a couple things. Your hair type. So if it's fine and thin, or if it's fine but you have a lot of it, or if it's thick and you have a lot of it, and also if you color your hair frequently or not as much at all, or not at all like I have it. Like, this is my natural hair color and I haven't really ever dyed my hair. I'm going to put a little cheat sheet in the description box so I don't have to like go on and on about like each hair type. But if you're just like, well, I don't even really know what kind of hair type I have, a good idea is you should be able to hold your hair on the iron for about 7 to 10 seconds, and when you pull it off, it should feel hot, but not so hot that you can't touch it. That is your perfect hair heat. That's the perfect temperature. I really don't think you should ever go up past 400. Just use that cheat sheet to kind of guide and be like, okay, I'll start off on the cooler side, and if your hair isn't hot enough, that's okay to bump it up. Like, don't feel bad, like, ooh, the sheet said I really shouldn't go above this temperature. If you pull it off the iron after 7 to 10 seconds and you're like, it really just kind of feels like warm, like lukewarm or something like that, that means your hair is just a little bit more dense, or it's just a little bit stronger. Even though I have fine, thinner hair, I need a little tiny bit more heat because I've never dyed it before. So it just really depends on your hair type and the experiences your hair's gone through. So experiment with that. That first advice of hair temperatures, that applies to everyone, whether they have a really hard time curling their hair or keeping their hair curling their hair, or if it's not a problem for them and they can keep their curls for days. That's just something that everyone should do just for the health of your hair. This next one is specifically if you have a hard time holding curl, and that is my curling wand that you see me using right now is made out of titanium. I had no idea that the material that the actual iron is made off of was important at all. I figured, okay, you know, some irons might make it your hair a little bit less frizzy or something like that, but I didn't think it would actually help your hair hold a curl better. The iron that I'm using is made out of titanium. It's the think is how you say it. I might be saying it so wrong and I'm so sorry. I'm not going to go into why. You can do the research yourself if you're really interested in why titanium helps your hair hold a curl. It's just a science, and I'm not the best at explaining science stuff, so we're just gonna, just trust me, it makes the biggest difference. I wanted to show you how big of a difference it would make. So I curled my hair one side. My curling iron that I bought for my birthday when I first decided I was going to start doing heat again, this curling iron is not the best choice. One, because it only has 2 heat settings, but actually the first heat setting works for me, so it was fine. Like that's around the temperature, so I don't think that was the issue. The big issue was this is made out of ceramic, I want to say, but I'm not 100% sure. So I curled one side of my head with this wand, and then the other side of my head with the titanium wand, and I did the exact same thing on both sides. I applied the exact same products, I did the exact same technique, I did everything. They're the same size barrel. I mean, one's longer than the other. Right here is what they look like at the beginning of the day. They look about the same. I would say the black one, I think the curls just look a little tiny bit pulled out more. But they're basically about the same. And then within an hour, I could already tell, like, my hair looked uneven. Like, one side was down toward, like, an inch further down than the other. And by the end of the day, those curls were, like, half gone, and the titanium ones were holding on pretty good. And I wanted to take it a step further. I didn't film this part because I forgot. I did my night routine to keep my curls lasting longer, which I'm going to show you. But the curls were, like, gone the next day. So titanium can be very important. So my sweet spot for heat temperature is 350. It's in the 300s because I have finer, thinner hair, but it's also halfway through because my hair is not dyed and I haven't used a lot of heat on it, and so it's pretty strong. Alright, so as you can see, I have just this little, like, top section clipped up. So on the left side of my head, I have no hair left to clip up. So on the top layers, I do something just a little bit different when I curl my hair. Instead of just having the curl sit in my hand after it's done on the curling iron, I will just clip it up with a bobby pin, or, like, you could use those, like, roller clips too. And that's just on the top layer because I want the top layer to be just a tiny bit tighter to just give a little bit more dimension and also hold a little bit better. That's kind of the hair that gets played with the most and, like, touched the most and all that stuff. So just to give it a little bit more stability, I do that. But that's the only thing that I change throughout all of the curling process. One tip that I have specifically if you're curling long hair is you always start as close to the handle as you can. That way you don't, like, get halfway through your hair and you're like, well, I ran out of barrel. And if, you know, you end up only using half the barrel, you end up using only half the barrel, but better to have more than have less in this situation. Okay, so it's this point of the video where I get to tell you that the footage of me showing you what my curls looked like at the end and showing you how I finished them off to make them last a lot longer went missing. So here's the final curl. And these are curls from over 48 hours ago, so they're not as quite as tight as they were, but I can still show you what I do to help the curls stay like this for a long time, and then we'll continue on with the other techniques I have. Okay, so at this point I let the curls cool completely. You want to very gently touch them. Everything should be cool, but just in case, just make sure everything's cool. And then I take some sculpting, what is this? Sculpting fiber cream. So you could use gel cream. I know there's a lot. I think let's see, Garnier has one, Aussie has one. If you just search gel cream or sculpting cream, something that's like has some hold to it, but it's not like a just pure hold. It's still kind of soft. And I just take just a little tiny bit. You can see it still definitely has some hold to it. You don't need a ton. I take altogether like 2 amounts like this, one for each side. I rub it all over my hands, and then, sorry, my hair's gonna be kind of tangly because I haven't brushed it out yet. I just run it through just like this, and then I scrunch it. So I'll like run it through a little bit to break up the curls, and then I'll scrunch them back up to define them a little bit more. See what I mean? And you can already see the difference, and like you can totally do this later on. I don't know if I actually mentioned this, to kind of re-sculpt your curls, and it kind of helps them bring them back to life a little bit. But I just do that to both sides. I also kind of do it on top. Then I like to take some texture spray to define and add more hold. The goal of all these steps is to add hold and only add good texture, so not make it like super crunchy or super stiff. It's just to add more movement. So I just take the texture spray and kind of go down very lightly. This one's by Canva again, just like that sculpting stuff. Crunch it some more. Final touch is some hairspray. I highly recommend using hairspray, even if it's a super flexible hold. It just, every little bit can make a difference. So I like to turn my head to the side and spray, just to give a little bit more volume. You could lift up and spray like you did with the texturizing spray. You could turn your head completely upside down, or you could just kind of, like I said, you don't want crunch, you just want hold, definition. But again, these are what the curls look like after I'm all done doing all this. In this picture, this is after a couple days. But yeah, okay, moving on to how I sleep in my curls. Okay, so it's end of day one. Curls are looking pretty fantastic in my opinion. So at this point, I do not brush my hair, which might like shock you guys. Honestly, it's not that bad. I just mostly get tangles right in the back. Instead of taking a brush, I just kind of pull them apart. That way you can kind of save more of curl. So I just have a couple little tangles towards the back where I always get tangles and it's the worst thing ever. I just kind of pull them apart a little bit. It doesn't take me super long. I would say if you insist on using some type of brush, I would recommend a wide tooth comb, just because it's a lot more gentle. It's more like your fingers. Like I'm basically done. Okay, and then there's a couple different things you can do depending on your hair. One tip that I've heard a lot, works for a lot of people, doesn't work personally for my hair, is braiding it all the way down, not a French braid, just a normal braid. Braiding it all the way down and then just loosening it up and tying it off with a scrunchie. Scrunchies are important. They don't give you creases or anything like that, or a creaseless hair tie, one of the two. Whatever you have. But something that won't like cause a kink or damage or anything like that. And then you're good to go and you can just fall asleep. If I do that, I lose a lot of the curl like from here up, and I don't love that. And so if you have like medium length hair, you can do what I like to call a pineapple ponytail. And that's where you take a scrunchie or a creaseless elastic or whatever, same thing, non-damaging, and you basically just put the ponytail like right on top of your head, and it makes it so that like your hair kind of like cascades. Kind of looks like the top of a pineapple. You don't end up like laying on top of it at all. Which I tried that method once. It actually didn't work too awful for me. So if you have longer hair and you want to try that, go for it. My methods that are my favorite either involve a scrunchie or some alligator clips like this. I prefer alligator clips just because I feel like there's a little bit more control. You could use a scrunchie too. But I do a pineapple bun instead. So I flip my head over. I gather it in a ponytail like this, very loosely. I'm not pulling super tight when I'm like have my hair flipped over. I'm just kind of combing things, and then I take the ponytail and I very loosely twist. I do not twist super tight. It's mostly at the base of the bun that I twist too. Once I get towards the ends especially, I don't really twist it. I'll maybe like twist once around. It's not gonna look, well actually that one doesn't look too unattractive. But you don't have to worry about it looking super pretty. And then once I reach the ends that aren't really curled anymore, see how they're like a bunch of straight pieces sticking out? I'm not really worried about those. I just flip off the ends like this and then see if it feels secure. If I feel like it's gonna like fall off, I'll just take another alligator clip, kind of just like clip it off. So like I'm not gonna like end up sleeping on them because that would not be comfy. I like this the best because yes, scrunchies are awesome and you can totally do this with the scrunchie too. You just like, you know, tie it over the bun like you would normally after you twist it all around. But there's just a little bit more control. You can place the clips where you want to. It's not being squished on all sides. So this is it for tonight. That's all you have to do. Really simple, really easy. And I'm gonna go to bed, and then in the morning for me and 2 seconds for you, I'm going to show you how I kind of revamp the curls. Okay, if you're a crazy sleeper like me, you probably like this in the morning. So all I do is just take out the clips, let my hair down, flip and look and to see how it is. Oh, look how, oh, see, look how good that is. Okay, so if my hair on top is like super duper frizzy where there's like no curls at all, it's not that bad today though, but I would just like take a brush and kind of go over the parts that don't have any curls in them. So it looks like I brushed all my hair, when in fact I didn't. Sometimes I might like recurl a piece or two that's like right next to my face, but I really like how these look. The curls are just a little bit rough. If there's any curls that, or any tangles that kind of developed through the night, normally there's not, but once in a while, I just kind of did what I did last night where I just kind of pull them apart a little bit. And apply some dry shampoo in the roots. Okay, and then I'll just take any kind of like leave-in conditioner or oil that you can use on dry hair. You gotta make sure that it's used for dry hair, or can be used on dry hair, because you don't want to like mess up all this. That'd be sad. This is a CC moisturizing cream. I'm just gonna take just a little bit of this. You could totally use oil, and normally I would, but the stuff that I really like to use on dry hair is all gone. But I just like rub it between my hands and kind of smooth over the dry parts. The parts that look kind of frizzy, dry, piecey in a weird way. And then I'm good to go. So normally I'll wear my hair completely down for 2 to 3 days. And then at that point, just because of like how greasy my hair is, whatever, I'll most likely put it in like a half ponytail or like a half top knot, or add a braid to one side or something like that, just to kind of hide the oil and maybe some curls that kind of fall in towards the top. And I'll do that for a day or two, and then I'll pull it up into like a cute ponytail with a braid. And then if it's not hair washing day by that point, like if I wash my hair on like Saturday or Sunday, I'll probably just use the leftover texture to get a very texturized braid or bun or something like that. If you want to check out my last hair tutorial, you can click right here. If you want to check out my last makeup review, you can click right here. And if you want to subscribe, you can click right here. I will list all the products that I used in this video in the description box. I do get a small percentage of the profits if you use my link to buy the product. I love you guys so much, and don't ever forget that you are enough. Bye!